So really guys, by using these 3 examples, I just want you to understand the goal is fiber first, prioritize protein, fill in with healthy fat, and carefully add carbs. And like I said, you can add carbs like this. I'm okay with that, especially if you need more volume in your meal and you just want that crunch, but please make sure you also have fiber. Hi guys. Welcome to another episode of the Energetically Efficient Show. I'm Kristen and I'm so excited to be with you today because what we're talking about today is how we can build healthy meals in less than 20 minutes. In fact, some of these, you guys, are literally less than like 5 minutes. It's so simple. The first thing I want to talk about before we get into some actual recipes is I could tell you all of the recipes in the world. I could give you a million different examples, but what I really want you to hear as we go through this episode today is what is my thought process and how I put together a meal. So my 4-part formula for creating a meal that's intentional, that supports my metabolic health, that will satiate me, that will taste good, like all of these things are possible, you guys. All of these things are truly possible. What I want you to think about is these 4 things, okay? We're gonna have fiber first, we're gonna prioritize protein, you're gonna fill in with fat, and then you're gonna carefully add carbs. And if you're doing this right, that first category of fiber and that last category I said of carbs should be largely one and the same with only a few exceptions, okay? So I'm gonna say it one more time just so in case you wanna write it down, you can. We're gonna focus on fiber first, we're going to prioritize protein, we're going to fill in with fats, and we're going to carefully add carbs. I've been using that phrase with all 4 of those parts for several years now, and clients seem to remember it well and appreciate it. So I could show you a bunch of meals with fiber, with protein, with healthy fats, and just a little bit of carb. But really what I want to do, and this is where my training as a lawyer comes in, when I was in law school, and many of you may know this if you're either a lawyer yourself, if you've been to law school, if you know someone who's been to law school, sure, you learn about the law in law school. There's some like practical legal things you have to learn, but what you're really learning when you're in law school is you're learning how to solve problems. You're learning how to think, okay? And that's what I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to think about food. What's the corny old saying? You can teach a man to fish, but if you you can give a man a fish, but if you teach him how to fish, then he can eat for a lifetime. It's something way more profound than that, but that's what I remember about it. It's either you give someone fish or you teach them how to fish so they can do it themselves. I want to teach you how to fish, okay? So let's get into it with our first meal. This is one I already created because I was starting my video before, so I'm just going to tell you about it and show you what it was that I did. So the ingredients for this meal are so simple, and this is a very good meal, but I'll show you. I've got the final product here, and then I've got a couple things I'm going to take out. So the first thing I'm going to take out, and I'll show you a bunch of stuff in my fridge today, is organic chia seeds. I get these at Whole Foods. I consume them all the time. You guys, these have a tremendous amount of fiber. They are so good for you. So this is where you're going to get your fiber first, from chia seeds. Then, because I'm showing you a recipe for chia seed pudding, we are going to mix it. This is my favorite, Alexander Farms A2 grass-fed kefir. I love this stuff. This is the low-fat version because it's blue. There's also a green version, and that is more of a whole milk or full-fat version. Either work. I have this one because it's lower in calorie, and I also add some healthy fats to this meal that are separate from the fat I get from dairy, but you can do it either way. So these are the first 2 ingredients, organic chia seeds and this particular kefir. If you are someone who can't have dairy, another option for you would be something like Califia Farms organic almond milk. And the reason I like this one, in addition to brands like Mulk or Elmhurst 1925 or 3 Trees organic almond milk, is because the ingredients, I'll read you the ingredients here, there are only 5 of them. Water, organic almonds, organic vanilla extract, and sea salt. So this is clean with no gums. You guys, all of the boxed nut milks on the shelf have lots of gums. You'll see gellan gum. You might see carrageenan in some. You might see locust bean gum. You may see other kinds of gums. And are they the end of the world? No. No, they're not. I would rather have you drink a nut milk with gums than drink a Coca-Cola, of course. But the reality is if we consume gums all of the time, over time they can really disrupt our gut health and they can really affect our gut lining. So we just want to minimize gums when we can. This Califia Farms one is at Whole Foods. It's at Target. You can find it anywhere. And this I find at Co-ops and at Whole Foods. So I love both of those. I added 30 grams of this. So I put this container on my food scale. I set the food scale to 0, and then I added 30 grams of organic chia seeds. I reset the food scale to 0, and I added 180 milliliters of this. That's 3/4 of a cup. 30 grams, 180 milliliters. Very simple on the food scale. And then, because I love cinnamon on everything, I added a bunch of organic Ceylon cinnamon, which was so good. That was amazing. Stirred it all up in here and put it in the fridge. So this is the chia seed pudding that just needs to sit in the fridge for an hour. So before I have a client meeting, I might whip this together. It takes literally 1 minute. So I might whip this together, put it in the fridge, and then I set my timer for 60 minutes so that I know this will be ready in 60 minutes. I could leave it in there longer. I could leave it in there 5 hours. I could leave it in there overnight, but I just know that it'll be ready in 60 minutes. And if I'm hungry, that's what I want to eat. So then once it's ready, this is really good fiber. And yes, there's some protein in here, but it's not enough. So then what I do, you guys have heard me talk about this before because it's my favorite. Obviously you can tell because it's almost gone in both of these bags. I have Marigold grass-fed vanilla. These are whey proteins. I have Marigold peanut butter. These are two of my favorite protein powders. You could also use pea protein. You could use a beef protein. I like Equip beef protein. I like Truvani for pea protein. I just recently came across another protein that's really, really high quality that I like, that I need to try, and I'm going to order some samples. Shout out to this woman who I follow on Instagram. I adore her. She has a brand called Just Ingredients. I might be getting her name wrong, and forgive me. But the Just Ingredients protein is a mix of whey, pumpkin, chia, I believe pea. It's really got a good amino acid profile because it mixes these different proteins together. And so if you don't have food sensitivities to any of those things, you might want to try the Just Ingredients protein. I haven't tried it yet, but I have had some clients try it and they like it. Okay. So once we take this out of the fridge, we add our protein powder. So we're going to stir that up really well. So now we have fiber and we have protein. What did I say we need next? We need our healthy fat. Right? Okay, so I have lots of sources of healthy fat that I pulled out for you, depending on the day. This is one of my favorite things that I add to a chia seed pudding, and it's organic walnuts, and I'll just do a serving of that, which is about 28 or 30 grams, also 1/4 of a cup, same thing. Okay, so I like to use grams because I like to put the bowl on the food scale and just add thing and keep resetting it to 0 to add ingredients. It's so much more efficient. And then I also, because I love having some more sweet, even though the protein powder is sweet, these are organic raspberries, which I washed, and I love these. So I will add somewhere between 3 and 6 ounces of these, which is another bolus of fiber. And so my carb, my carefully added carb at the end, which in my case is raspberries, also has a tremendous amount of fiber. You guys, this meal, okay, this meal, sorry, I can't hold all of it. This with the protein powder will do nothing to your blood sugar because there's so much fiber in it. Now, I always want you walking after a meal to support your blood sugar, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just for 10 minutes. I typically walk the girls for 20 to a half an hour after I eat, but any time that you can walk after you eat a meal is good because we want to be regulating our blood sugar. I popped in another CGM last week in my arm. I hadn't had one in for a while. And the reason I got this new one is because my Oura Ring, which I love them, okay? The Oura Ring recently got a collaboration with this particular sensor, which is the brand Stelo, S-T-E-L-O. So I was able to get 2 CGMs for only $99, and I just love that there's so much competition on the market right now, you guys, for CGMs, because it's finally bringing the prices down, which is great. So other than my Oura Ring, there is no more important tool for my metabolic health than my CGM. If you really want to learn about your metabolic health, I recommend that you get 2 things, that you get an Oura Ring and a CGM, because they will tell you so much about yourself. If you consume sweets with no fiber on an empty stomach, for example, your blood sugar will go way up. And you can listen to my other podcasts where I talk about how and why we get fat, and I talk about different macronutrients to learn more about this. But the key is that we do not want to be spiking our blood sugar all day long and be on that roller coaster over and over, because not only does this create a massive amount of inflammation in our body, and inflammation is truly, you guys, the root of all disease, but it also is going to cause us to store body fat in all sorts of different places. So if we're not spiking our blood sugar all day long, and if we're instead keeping low and steady blood sugar, which is what I have, as evidenced by my CGM, then we're going to be metabolically healthy, we're not going to store a bunch of fat on our body, and we're going to feel really good. Okay, so that's my chia seed pudding. just by way of one reminder, real quick, because I like to run things down. So here is your summary. We're going to do 3 tablespoons of organic chia seeds. We're going to do 180 milliliters of a kefir if you do dairy, or an unsweetened nut milk if you do not. I'm just going to warn you though, this does not get nearly as creamy. This makes it very creamy and very good. So the consistency is different. I like to sprinkle the organic cinnamon on it. And then after we're done with that, we're going to stir in 1 serving of protein powder, okay? For my protein that I use, it's about 30 grams. And then after that, we're going to top it with a source of healthy fats, like a walnuts or like a peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of a peanut butter, 32 grams. And then if you want to add another carb, you can add some fruit on top of it, like raspberries or blueberries or strawberries. Or maybe you're feeling like you want a little more carb that day and you want to add banana. I've also added kiwi to it. Whatever you do, then you eat your meal and then you go walk for about 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you have time for. Okay, so that's one of our fun meals. You guys, I have to do an entire episode of what's in my fridge because I would love to show you that. We just don't have time for it today, and I want to be efficient and get you some additional meal examples. Okay, some of you might not know this. Chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, those kinds of things, you're supposed to keep them in the fridge. If you read it, it's on here. We want to keep seeds in the fridge. Okay. So that is what I have for you for the first meal. I want to show you another meal because I feel like it's just so nice to have easy things that are healthy. So let me grab another one, which is an easy tuna salad. Okay, so this is also super simple, requires no cooking, just like the chia seed pudding. So I really like this Tonino tuna brand that I found at Whole Foods. That's what it looks like. You also could get Wild Planet. You could get Safe Catch. There's a lot of good ones that say, and I want you to read labels that say tested for mercury, low mercury. You want to get wild caught. Things that'll have low mercury. Of course, we don't want to like stuff our faces with tuna every single day for 4 months, or we might have concerns about mercury. But if you're going to have this once in a while, it's fantastic. And interestingly, when you drain the water out of a can of tuna, and this is why I use a food scale for everything, you guys, because I'm very specific about my macronutrients. I will put a bowl on here, okay? I'll put a bowl on the food scale. I will set it to 0. I will drain a can of tuna. I will pour the tuna in there, and it is never as many grams as tuna as it says on the nutrition facts. So instead of this saying, this is about 2 servings, which means it would be 6 ounces of tuna in here, or 85 grams times 2, which is what, 170? It's gonna be like 112, 115, 120 grams. It's going to be way less. So I mean it. Use your food scale because we want to be specific, because you need to make sure you're having enough protein to satiate you, to help you build muscle, and to help you get metabolically fit. Okay, so because the tuna is never as much as it says in here, I like to add a half a cup of beans to it. You guys, you're going to be so full from this meal, you're not going to believe it. So we're draining a can of beans. This only takes a couple of minutes. So we're going to do a half a cup of, this is just an organic bean. I just rinse them off in the sink. I put them in a strainer. I'm going to put that in a bowl. And then one of my favorite things to add to that, so that I'm getting another vegetable and some volume, is celery. Okay, so I've got fiber in my beans. I've got fiber in my celery. These are also carbs. So notice my carbs that I have in my meal also have fiber, because that's going to slow down the digestion. It's going to prevent us from getting a blood sugar spike. And it also just adds a really good amount of satiety to your meal. Okay, this is obviously my protein. This one, by the way, is olive oil and jalapeno, and it's so yummy. This one is just in water. So even though you drain off a lot of the olive oil, so I never consider that the healthy fat. And then what would I put with tuna? Here's what I like with it. I love doing a mix. My clients know this because I've programmed this in a lot of clients' plans because I want them to try it. Primal Kitchen, this is a chipotle lime flavor. This is an amazing source of healthy fats. I love it. It smells so good. And the ingredients, which are largely organic, are avocado oil, organic eggs, organic vinegar, organic egg yolks, organic lime juice, organic chipotle or chili powder, yes, chipotle chili powder, etc. There's garlic, etc. There's no junk in this, which I love. There's other brands on the market that are also good that say avocado oil based. I think there's one from Chosen Foods. I think there's also one from Sir Kensington's, but I really want you guys to read ingredients. Primal Kitchen I very much trust. They keep their ingredients largely organic, and they haven't shorted on quality, even though the founder of Primal Kitchen, Mark Sisson, sold the company, I believe, to private equity. I got nervous about that because I was like, oh great, here the ingredients are going to go downhill. They haven't, which is fantastic, okay? And I also like to mix it with mustard. This is a honey mustard. I probably wouldn't use that just because of the chipotle flavor. So I would probably do something, this is what I meant to grab, which is my organic Dijon mustard. So I would mix these, I would do the tuna and beans, and I would do the celery sticks. That way, again, just as a reminder, fiber first, prioritize protein, fill in with fat. And then when I say carefully add carbs, these are also the carbs that are doubling as the fiber, which is fantastic. And this is so good, you guys. It's so satiating. If you're like, okay, Kristen, that sounds good, but I really don't want to just eat that out of a bowl with a spoon. I need like a crunch, or I need something to dip it in. I have two ideas for you, okay? One of my ideas, which I love because there's also no carbs in it, so it's just more protein and fat. I love 4505 pork rinds, okay? These are excellent. The ingredients are just fried pork skin, salt, coconut palm sugar. There's just a tiny bit because there's literally no carbs in here, but these taste so good. So that's one option. Rethink pork rinds if you haven't tried them, because they actually are good for you, way better for you than chips. If this doesn't sound good for you, I forgot to grab these out of my cupboard, but I will show you. I have some healthy crackers, okay? Here's a couple healthy crackers that I recommend to clients. One would be these Mary's Gone Crackers Super Seed. I really like these. And these have a 14 net carbs, but they're awesome because they're hearty and you can dip them, okay? So they're great for dipping. Can you guys peep? I just love this so much. Can you peep how much alavi? It's no joke. I am so obsessed with this stuff. It's no joke, you guys. It's really, really, really good. Okay, so this alavi nut butter. Just a shout out to them. This has nothing to do with anything. Although I do use this as a healthy fat. Oh, I forgot about that. For my 4th of July recipe, because I thought this would be fun, I always use this with raspberries, because then you have a red, white, and blue dessert, and it could be like fun for the kids, tastes amazing, and you're supporting their metabolic health, their digestion. They'll have amazing bowel movements. They won't be bugging you for a snack. Use this for your healthy fat instead of the walnuts or whatever. I love these guys. I'll put a link down below. I believe I have a discount code for them. This is not something I make money off of. I just love to support them because there's 2 female founders, and one of them is from Minnesota, which of course I love because I'm from Minnesota. Okay, so setting that aside, I forgot about these crackers. This would be something you could dip in the tuna salad. These are awesome. And then another one that I found that I am a fan of. Oh, sorry. I feel like I'm all over the place today. But that's because there's so much I have to tell you. Okay, the ingredients here are all organic and there's no seed oils. Now, these don't have seed oils. The original ones don't have seed oils. So what I mean by these is the Super Seed line from Mary's, and the original ones don't have seed oils, but for reasons that I cannot explain. The rectangular box of Mary's Gone Crackers, the rectangular cookie or crackers, have seed oils. So don't assume just because a brand makes things good and doesn't include seed oils that it's always going to do that. It's not necessarily, okay? The same is true. Sorry, sidebar, tangent. This is what I do when I get excited about things. The same is true for my amazing friends at Gotham Greens. I love these guys. I use this vegan pesto when I don't want to eat dairy, or the regular pesto when I don't mind having dairy because it has a little bit of cheese in it all the time. This is one of my healthy fat things. This also goes for a bunch of meals that I could tell you about. And I'll do future episodes, of course, to give you more meal ideas. But I looked because they have some dressings right by the pesto on the shelf at Whole Foods. The dressings have seed oils. So no, we have to read ingredients every time, you guys. You cannot assume just because a brand makes one thing that's clean that everything is clean. Oh, and as a reminder, for those of you who are like, what is she talking about with seed oils? Even though I feel like you cannot like open social media or have the internet open at all without hearing about seed oils lately. Seed oils are coined, the term that they are coined by one of my favorite doctors, Dr. Kate Shanahan. They are the Hateful Eight. So there are 8 of them. So I'm just going to run through what the Hateful Eight are. I will tell you them here so that you can see this graphic, because the Hateful Eight seed oils are something that I want you to just save as like a graphic in your phone. You can like screenshot this. That's what I do. I keep it in my phone. But there are 8 of them. So we're going to go through them. So there are 3 C's, 3 seed oils that start with a C, 3 seed oils that start with an S, and then 2 other random names, okay? So the 3 C's are corn, cottonseed, and canola oil. These are found in tons and tons and tons of processed packaged foods. Corn, cottonseed, and canola oil. The 3 S's are soybean, safflower oil, and sunflower oil. Soybean, safflower, and sunflower. Those are the 3 S's. And then the other 2 are grapeseed oil and rice bran oil. And here's what's funny. If I see grapeseed before I knew anything about anything, I would have been like, that sounds healthy. I would have thought the same about rice bran. That sounds healthy. Bran, isn't bran good for you? No. Just because it says rice bran oil, it does not mean it's good for you. In fact, it's bad for you. So one of the reasons I love these, going back to the crackers, is they don't have seed oils. Here's another healthy cracker that I found, also no seed oils. Everybody Eat. I love this flavor. It's fiery chili lime, but these use only extra virgin olive oil. So I always like to say on the hierarchy of things that I like, don't like, these not only are a little lower carb, but these are all organic ingredients. These are not organic. So when something's labeled USDA organic, we just know that it's a higher quality because it wasn't created out of foods like that were farmed that have pesticides and herbicides all over them. That's the risk with things that are non-organic, is they're full of pesticides and herbicides. Okay, but these are very good, and they only use olive oil, which I approve of. Okay, so you can dip that in your tuna salad. So let's move on from tuna salad. I want to give you one more because I feel like there are so many other easy things I could do, and I can do a whole nother episode about this, you guys, because obviously there are many things that I could tell you. So let's just do one other easy one. And I think what I'd like to do, because this is so simple, you're gonna laugh. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna be like, what? So let's pretend I had this meat cooked in the fridge, because I often keep cooked meat in the fridge for 2 or 3 days because then I'll eat it. I might even have some in there that I'm gonna eat later. Anyways, this is a new one that I have. So this is organic ground beef, 93.7. So this is gonna be my protein. So I'm like, well, what's my fiber and what's my healthy fat? Okay, here's what I sometimes do. I will put 4 or 5 ounces of this in a bowl, typically 5, because if you use the 93.7, you need 5 ounces to get at least 30 grams of protein. So I'll do 5 ounces of this. And then look at these, dry roasted edamame. Okay, you can buy these at the airport. You can buy these at Whole Foods. I bought these at a local store here in Nashville called Turnip Truck, but they're crunchy, okay? They're so good. They're crunchy. But I'm gonna read you the macros. Edamame not only has a decent amount of plant protein, it's got lots of fiber. Dietary fiber in 1/3 of a cup, 6 grams. You're gonna need another 14 grams of protein in this and 6 grams. So I would throw 5 ounces of this, 1/3 a cup of this for some fiber. I would throw in 1 ounce of the Gotham Greens vegan pesto for my healthy fat. And then you know what? I just thought of one other thing I'd do. I'd say, oh, well, that's not really a lot of vegetables, Chris. What else could you do? I'll put in a serving of sauerkraut. Now I've got some vegetables, which is a carb. I have some edamame, which is fiber and a carb. This also has fiber. And then I have grass-fed ground beef for my protein and Gotham Greens vegan pesto for my healthy fat. I could also skip the pesto and I could use walnuts, or I could use olives, or I could use that Primal Kitchen mayo, or I could use a half an avocado. So really, guys, by using these 3 examples, I just want you to understand the goal is fiber first, prioritize protein, fill in with healthy fat, and carefully add carbs. And like I said, you can add carbs like this. I'm okay with that, especially if you need more volume in your meal and you just want that crunch. But please make sure you also have fiber. The reason I liked this for the tuna salad meal is because I had a bunch of beans in there. I was getting so much fiber that it's gonna slow down the digestion, so I'm not gonna get a blood sugar spike that's gonna send the signal from my pancreas to the rest of my body, store fat, store fat. We don't want to be sending the store fat signal all the time. I did a whole nother episode about that if you want to listen to it. Okay, so sauerkraut was kind of a hit here. This, no cooking required. I take these on planes with me if I want something for more protein. I might eat, you guys, for a meal. You're going to laugh. I might do this on the road in the plane. Okay, let's do one more because I can show you this. Here's a meal. 1/3 of a cup of this, 30 grams, and a Marigold bar. Okay, do I want you eating something like this all the time? Of course not. But what I want you to know is I would rather have you eat a meal like this and be intentional about it on the plane than just snack on random sun chips that they give you on the flight, or eat your kids' extra food off the plate because you didn't have a meal like this that had fiber and a little bit of carb, and this has protein and healthy fat. You guys, this is why I love Marigold bars. This has 21 grams of protein, and for healthy fats, it's 15. So if I add the 21 grams of protein to this 14, so now I have 35 grams of protein in this meal, 6 grams of fiber. In fact, there's probably fiber in here too. Oh, there's 4 grams of fiber. This meal has 10 grams of fiber, a whopping 35 grams of protein, and the healthy fats are 20. This is so amazing, and I just came up with another meal for you. This is the way I think about it. What's my fiber, okay? What's my protein? What's my healthy fat? And then how am I going to add a carb if I want it? So I hope this has been helpful for you. I will definitely do more episodes about this in the future if you found this helpful. I really want to teach you how to think about food. I don't want to just give you ideas. I want to teach you how to think. So just a few other things, because I can't help myself. These Egg Life egg white wraps, are the eggs pasture raised and organic? No. Okay? No, they're not. When I buy eggs, do I buy pasture raised organic? Yes. Would I prefer to eat all my eggs that I eat from like a farm, fresh off a farm? Yes. However, this is good as an alternative to a tortilla, as an alternative to bread. I like to use these. 2 of these wraps, this is the everything bagel flavor, which I love. 2 of these has 12 grams of protein, okay? I also, and I had one of these earlier today with some yogurt on it, and I think I had a Marigold bar with it. This is sweet cinnamon. These have 11 grams of protein in 2 of these wraps. So there's all sorts of different ways that we can put meals together if we're using my framework: fiber, protein, fats, and carbs. So consider taking some of the examples that I gave you in this episode and make a little list for yourself. Make a list of fibers, make a list of proteins, make a list of healthy fats, and make a list of, if you want to add carbs, you can. But again, carbs and fiber should double. That's things like raspberries, apples, that edamame, beans. There's all sorts of ways you can do carbs and fiber. Basically, any vegetable is carbs and fiber. Most fruits are carbs and fiber, although you got to be careful with fruits because some of them are like a straight sugar bomb. Mango is one that comes to mind. What else comes to mind for the sugar bomb? Watermelon has a fair amount with no fiber. So there's some fruits that'll have a lot of sugar with no fiber, but all of your berries are great. Apple is great, those kinds of things. And that way you can start to come up with meals on your own and not feel like, oh my God, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I got to put the sauerkraut back, sorry. I don't have a clue what I'm doing because I haven't thought through how to put together a meal. Okay, I really hope that's helpful for you guys. I recommend that you put together those lists for yourself, and I'm happy to do a future episode about a list like that I could do for you, or anything else in the food prep category. I will do a whole episode about everything in my fridge because I thought that would be fun also. So I shared with you some of my high protein meal combos, which is of course the protein powder, the tuna, the grass-fed ground beef, those kinds of things. But the one last thing I want to tell you before I leave you in this episode is how to batch smart and shop intentionally. I had a note about that. So one of the things I want you to open up to on this shopping intentionally is, if you start to eat more real food, you're going to have to go to the grocery store more, or you're going to have to get groceries delivered more often. And I just want you to open up to that possibility. You guys, if you are getting vats of food, vats of processed things, vats of things at Costco, which I get it, I buy from Costco every once in a while too. I'll do another video. I did a YouTube video a long time ago about a Costco haul and things that I found. But if you are getting things at Costco that last for months and months and months, it may be that they're not real food. Now, I have things in my freezer that last for a long time that I love. I'm thinking like base culture sourdough bread. I love that stuff. There's other things in here that I could pull out. So I'm not saying it's bad to have stuff in the freezer. We obviously have to keep a lot of things in the freezer if they're, frozen foods that you just take out and thaw and eat. But the real food just won't last for weeks on end. I couldn't buy fresh organic raspberries and have them and be eating them 3 weeks after I purchased them. I could buy frozen organic raspberries And I could eat those 3 weeks after I purchase them, so that's an option there. But like a real good organic Honeycrisp apple isn't gonna last for 4 months in the fridge. So just think about and open up to, I'll do future teachings on this, open up to, we've gotta go to the store or at least order groceries a little more than we like. And my biggest encouragement would be to get you to go to the store more, because it also helps you develop a connection to your food. When you can be more intentional at the store, when you can see what's available, when you can really start cultivating that relationship with your food, it is going to serve you well, I promise. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for being here. I love that you're part of my community, and I will be back with another episode very soon. Thanks.